So first, let's talk about the alignment sticks and how these sticks can help you learn to putt properly. Now, this is for absolute beginners. If you're having trouble learning to putt the ball, the first thing we need to do is get the ball rolling straight every single time. Now, you may be inclined just to swing at the ball and do that, but until we can understand straight, we can't understand reading the greens. So this is your friend. Here I have 2 alignment sticks. This is how you're going to learn to roll the ball straight. If I make a smooth putt from this alignment stick, depending on the speed, I'm going to end up with a pretty good putt to the hole. Now both of those were a little short, so I can speed this putt up a little bit. I'm not going to be concerned at this point with missing my line because it's rolling on the sticks. So in this case, these are pretty good putts to the hole. So my read would be about 3 feet left of the hole. I'm always going to walk up and look from the opposite side of a hole so I can get an idea of what I think it does. And I can see that everything drains this way. And I know from experience that you must build a hole so the water will drain. So everything looks as if it comes downhill and the grain looks like it's leaning this way, which would lead me to believe that this hole breaks this direction. I've taken a look at the bottom. And now I take a look behind my ball and I try to decide how much right this is going to go. And I've chosen that the ball needs to come out into here. So this is where the technique comes in. So in this scenario, I determined this breaks 3 or 4 feet that direction, and I don't see any way it can go anywhere else. So what I've done is I've placed a ball marker about 6 feet in front of my ball. And now what I need to determine is how that ball will be rolling when it gets to that foot section. So I believe at this point that this ball should be rolling roughly there at that angle when it meets that section. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 6-foot sections and determining which way I believe the ball will be rolling when it gets to that section. I would take this one and I go 6 feet further and I think the ball is now rolling around there. Now in my brain, I've hit my ball towards that 3-foot outside mark and it started to turn. And 6 to 8 feet out, I've picked the direction that I think the ball is now rolling. So I go 6 feet further and I picture where it's going to be rolling. And if I believe that it can go in, then that's my putt and all I have to do is determine speed. So if I determine that I'm going to end up under the hole, I may need to move this mark out, and then I have to move both of my sticks in my brain again. Again, these sticks are not on the course with you. These are ideas of when the ball gets here, it should be going this way, and I can feel this, and when it gets in here, it should be rolling this way, and then I can feel, well, it's going to break a little more, and that's a pretty good spot. So now, step 2. We've laid out these alignment sticks that gives us a run at the hole that we believe is accurate. We've sat here and we've read the green and we recognize that it's going to turn to the right. And now we're trying to recognize how much. So I've picked about 3 feet outside left. And now I'm going to find something in the middle of these two. And in the middle of these, there's a small flowery plant right there. So when I lay this ball down, when I make this putt, if I putt properly, it should roll over this flowery plant. So at this point, what I'm doing is I'm swinging to think about speed. But once I've figured out my speed and my alignment, I know that I'm going to putt towards this flowery plant. I'm going to step up and make that putt and see if it goes over that flowery plant. Now in this case, it's going to, because I'm using the alignment sticks. But if I weren't using the alignment sticks, I want to try to make sure that I'm coming over this flowery plant. So my focus is my eyes are on the ball. I do not want to watch this club go backwards. and I don't want to watch it come forward. My peripheral vision can be looking at this ball mark to make sure that I'm going towards it, but I do not want to use my peripheral vision to watch the club go back or anything behind me. So I'm going to come over, I'm going to do the same thing, think about my speed. Now I'm going to step up, I'm going to look at my line, I'm not worried about the hole anymore, and I use my speed and see if I can get over that flowery plant. Now I've made about the same putt, and I still think that that's the right line, so I'm going to do the same. Now, my alignment sticks are looking at the flowery plant. So I'm just trying to make sure that I go down these alignment sticks with a proper stroke. That's a little firmer. That's going to end up a little outside. But not bad putts altogether. So here we've left a ball below the hole. My first thing would be to check from behind the hole. And I'm going to look down and see what I feel. And I don't feel much happening here, and I don't see much. So I'm going to look behind the ball, look 6 feet. I see barely a wobble, look another 6 feet. I feel barely a wobble, look another 6 feet, and it's ending up here. So in this case, there's something we say, and it's don't leave the hole. So if you're reading balls and you're reading too much break, the next step is don't leave the hole. You pick the side of the hole you think it tends to or tends away from, and that's what you putt towards. So what we're going to do is line this up as straight as we can to the hole. I feel like that's a pretty straight putt. It looks pretty straight. So let's try to make this alignment putt. So I'm going to feel the speed. And I'm going to, over the ball, I'm going to take a last look. I'm going to find my point in front of the ball. Right now I'm focused on the point and the distance to the hole. I'm not worried about the ball. Now when I step over, I look at my point I want to roll over, and I make the roll. That's a pretty good putt, just too firm. It's very important when we make this putt that the alignment sticks are straight. If they're one towards the other and the ball gets on one side, it's not going to fly where you think it's going to fly or roll where you think it's going to roll. So here we go, down the line. Pretty good putt. So now we've made a putt. How do we get better at putting from this point? Well, I'm going to show you. So I've now read this. Very straight, maybe right edge. Just barely 10s left. It's straight uphill. And I've hit it down my alignment sticks and I've made the putt. So I know that this is the putt. So now I'm going to put the ball in front of these alignment sticks, and I'm going to put a ball marker to show exactly where that ball is. Now I'm a half a ball from the ball marker. It's very important that you always use the same distance. I'm going to get rid of one of these sticks. So level 2, as a better putter, we're not going to use the stick to guide our ball. We're going to use it to guide our putter. Now we've got an idea of what this ball should do. So we're going to make a few putts and see if I can keep my head of my club in line long enough to make these. So I'm thinking about speed. It's uphill. I'm thinking about my ball mark, which is right there. I'm going to get over the ball and I'm going to try to roll this. I'm going to do it again. And my goal here is to make sure that I'm making the putt that I think I'm making. So I pick my spot that I want this ball to roll, which is around here. There's a little ball mark there. I'm trying not to watch the back. I'm staying over the ball, making the putt. Now these putts are about 15 feet, so I should make 1 out of 3. Over the ball, make the putt. 1 out of 3. This is how we build up to a good putting stroke. Now there are other ways to get better at putting, and I'm going to show you a few of those now. Now let's say this is our approach into a green and we chip. This is our ball and it lands. We're going to watch that ball die, and it's going to settle towards me and down. So now I know I have a left breaking putt. It's going to go right to left, high on the hill. So now we're standing right behind it and I can see the hill, and I have to make an estimate of where I think this ball is going to break. First thing I'm going to do is look from behind the hole, make sure that it's got as much break as I think. It's definitely going this way. How much? It's tough to say. It's probably somewhere in here, and I can see a flowery piece of the green, so I'm going to use that as my arbitrary location. So that is right up in here. 6 inches left of that. Now, my brain is calculating what I think this is going to need to do to go in the hole. Now, I'm not going to use the rails this time. I'm going to use the alignment. So I align this stick to what I think, which is just inside of that. Now, I'm doing this live. I haven't made this putt yet. I've never attempted it, but I believe that that is the turn. Now, I go 6 feet forward. My line is here. But by there, I think I'll be more in here. And I think the ball will be moving this direction. So now my question in my head is, if I make this putt from here, if I were to make this putt where I think this ball is, can it stay in the hole? And it feels like it may drop a little low. But I need to go with this to give myself an idea of, did I read it right? So I'm going to step up, going to make a putting stroke, feel the speed. I feel like it's going to be very fast coming down. I feel right now as if I'm not far enough right, but I'm going to make the putt so that I can learn. That was probably the putt. It was probably the right read. So let's move this out of here. I move it low, but I keep the distance. Because in this case, if I get low, it's not going in anyways. But I want to remember that I was short on that putt. Down the line, a little firmer. That one was a push, and I almost made it. Now my goal here is my line, which is right here. And I can see a little flowery plant. I'm focused on that line and the speed. When I step up, I do not watch this direction. I keep my peripheral of where I want to roll over, and that's all I'm staring at. The ball and peripheral forward, never peripheral back. So now we have a 50-foot lag, and we have to employ every tool that we've already used. Now, I can see that this ball is going to go left early on. So now I've made my read, and my read from here looks like it needs to come over these leaves. It's going to move this way, and in here it's going to arbitrarily move backwards. There's a lot of leaves on the green, and anything could happen, but I'm not going to stress over that because I'm working on my putting. Now my goal is to make sure I get it there. So I'm going to line up to those leaves and get my line to the leaves. Now I'm going to focus on how far the pin is. Now back to my line, I find the line in front of my ball, I step up, I know the speed, I know the line, and I make a putt at it. I hit the leaves, it's getting in, I got a little below the hole, but I can live with that putt. Find my line, find my leaves, I want to roll over the leaves. That one hit the leaves, that's going to be better line, but I think it's a little short. It's a little short. Still a better putt, and I've learned throughout all these putts. Let's say I putted all the way down the hill, and this is what happened. I can see the ball rolling right, and after the hole, it moved right about half a cup. That's if I miss on the right side. On the left, it rolls through, and it moves about a cup to that point. Now this ball misses. Close edge. Fair speed, I watch it settle. It settled down and right. So all of these balls, I know by watching them come through, go right. So when I come to get this read, I know roughly the path and the speed it took to get here. And I need to recreate that path and speed. So I practice these putts trying to roll right up the path that it missed through. And if I can roll up the path it missed through, then I can make these putts. Missed that one just by a tad. So what I've done is I followed the path that it came through, and I putt back up that path because it's like a video game. It's left a trail, and as long as I focus on that trail as it goes past, I can make the next putt coming back. The normal putting stroke would be to grab the club palm on the side, and instead of being here, we want to be here, because this prevents our wrist from turning more. This, we get really wristy. Here, we're kind of locked in. So I drop this in, it's locked in, this hand comes over the top, and I find a neutral position where I can point my arms without moving the club, right? This, my wrist and the club connection are not moving at all, just like in the putt. The wrist and club connection does not move at all. We don't want to do this. This is called wanding. And what this does is this changes the loft of the club and the rotation depending on how poor or how much movement there is in the wrists. So instead of being wristy, we want to be rotation-y. Nothing changes. If you can do this, you can make more putts. Now this has become a long video, I understand, but it's important that we go through all the steps. So step one was using the alignment sticks to make a good roll. Step two is reading the green using that roll. Step three is understanding the mechanics. We don't want to use our wrists at all in a putt. That's why you see so many desperate attempts of people to try to figure out ways to not do any of these things. And I mean, there's just crazy stuff going on all the time. There's a reverse grip because this is not natural. There is hands together with your palms together. There's a longer grip. There's gripping the club to your forearm. There's using it as a belly putter. You know, if it was longer, I could use it as a belly putter. But the point here is this creates a pendulum. This is why this is such a effective way to putt. Now, if I can't use the shaft as a pendulum, I need to stop the movement in my wrists and use my shoulders as a pendulum. So many golfers, myself included for years, putt as a pendulum. I don't technically putt like this anymore, but I'll show you how and why. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a pendulum and I'm going to try not to move anything in here. That's the goal here. Nothing in this angle changes. A lot of people like it pressed forward. That doesn't matter at this point. The point is you have to be able to swing down a line with a pendulum motion. That's why I like the alignment sticks and just practicing going over it. So here's one. So we're right in the middle of this tutorial, and I realize that some of it is complicated, but you want to take this in steps. Bookmark it, come back. If you're a total beginner, work on the alignment stick drills. If you're not a beginner and you've got a good stroke, try to employ this partial reading tactic. If you're a very good putter, you've got all of these things, and now you just have to figure out how to make the back putts coming through. You should already have a read, and you should already have an idea of what speed it takes to get there. So you combine all of these together, and you're going to be a better putter. If this is helping, if you understand what I'm trying to teach you, and if these videos, my whole channel is something you find useful, hit the like and subscribe button. It'll make my day. I still haven't reached 1,000. I'm hoping to teach a lot more people how to lower their scores and have more fun golfing by taking the stress out and just teaching you simplified golf. So let's do a recap and talk about what we've learned today. First, the alignment sticks. Provide a track to make sure the ball is rolling straight, but you need to be able to roll the ball straight. So step one, make some tracks with your alignment sticks if you're really a beginner and you're not sure how to strike the ball. Put your alignment sticks down, put the ball on it, start them out maybe half an inch apart, get them to the point where they're totally together, and you can roll the ball from one end of the sticks to the other without it leaving. So I'm going to make one last read here and see what I think. And I think that this ball breaks about 2 feet to the right. So I'm going to move this alignment stick to about there. Now I'm going to factor this in my head. The ball's going to roll down this line. When it gets about here, it will have turned a little. Now it's rolling down this line. When it gets here, it will have turned a little. I'm below the hole. No matter what, I'm below the hole. So I want to go a little further left. So now I'm coming down this line. I turn a little, I'm coming down this line. I turn a little. With good pace, I'm falling into here. With short pace, I'm going to end up just below the hole. With firm pace, I'm going to go in the hole. And now I have to decide which pace I'm going to use. I'm going to feel this and feel my line. I'm going to step up and just make the putt. I'm okay with that putt. I missed it a little left, but the putt made sense to my brain. So now I'm going to move the alignment stick back a little more so it's giving me less help. Make the putt again. Now I'm going to move the alignment stick fully out and try to make the putt. So I'm focusing on my line first, in speed, focusing up there, finding my spot in front of my ball, stepping up, making the putt. I realize 21 minutes is a long video, so I'm going to cut this here. I have a lot more footage that I'm going to put into one of the subcategories that has this in bulk if you want to watch it. If you're anxious to see that, or you want to see more of these tutorials, or if there's some subject in this segment that you'd like me to expand upon, leave me a comment below. Until then, press and send. Thanks for watching.